States is going on here? It's dropping mosquitoes. You got a aircraft dropping mosquitoes. Let's keep watching. I got more to show you here. There's a lot of commentary on this. Why am I showing this to you? I'll tell you in a moment. Watch this. Please repost this. Look at this. He's up to it again.
Insane research they're doing about injecting mosquitoes with... It's scary. Yeah, what are they doing?
So they're doing that. They've already released them in Florida, from my understanding.
The fact that you've got some genetically engineered mosquito and you're releasing it on the human race, like, hope, man. The idea that you're going to contain those mosquitoes once you release them out in the wild.
Oxford, Massachusetts, and 3 neighboring towns have a
Watch this.
concern as mosquitoes carrying a potentially deadly virus called Eastern Equine Encephalitis, or Triple E, infected a resident who is now fighting for his life.
We don't want to see another human case of Triple E this year.
The rare but dangerous disease can cause swelling in the brain. There's no treatment and anyone can get infected. The death rate is as high as 30%.
Even if you do survive, usually there are long-term significant health impacts, neurological impacts.
Then get it
Oxford
sprayed.
has been declared a critical risk for Triple E, prompting health department officials to recommend a 6 p.m. curfew for outdoor activities, including club sports.
These are recommendations. They're not hard and stop requirements.
We are definitely nervous about it.
Sierra Fournier is also worried her children's sports seasons, football and cheer, could be jeopardized. But they're taking precautions by wearing mosquito repellent and long sleeve tops.
We can't stop. Like, they need to get out there. They need to play. This is their time to be social with their friends and be a part of a team.
Now, Triple E symptoms usually begin between 4 to 10 days after being bitten by an infected mosquito.
Crazy.
CDC. Now, some of those symptoms can include fever, headache, and seizures. Nora?
This is just recently, back on August 27th, and it says New Hampshire resident, he expires after this triple EV infection as rare lethal mosquito-borne virus spreads in New England. Now we're seeing this happen. I'll just look at this just for a moment. We're seeing this happen, and it says the health official said Tuesday that a person who tested positive for this mosquito infection, Eastern Equine Encephalitis virus, has passed. And you're looking at this, and suddenly this is coming to the forefront. And although this is serious and there's real things happening, and I believe induced, and I'm going to drive this point home even further here in just a moment, I believe it's very likely that a lot of these type of illnesses and mysterious things that show up on the scene, because it's the season where we begin to pick our leaders, so they bring out all these scenarios where they can control and mass expedite fear over people to get you to do their bidding, to lock up, shut down, pull back, be quiet, and do what they want you to do, including as they try to hijack and steal the very future of this scenario that we're all living in. Now, let's look at this for a moment. And you say, why would you bring this up? What's the big issue? Well, when you see these things hitting the forefront, you see them hitting the scenes, you got to ask the question, who benefits from this? Who's already been involved in it? Why? You got to watch the small news. It's something we talk about all the time. I would really like to show you another clip here, maybe a couple clips actually. And let's look at this. Let me look right at you. Now I want you to repost this because this is important. To be forewarned is be forearmed. You know at least where this is coming from and where they're going with it. I don't think this is the only thing they're going to be inducing, but this is something that's happening. And it's Bill Gates. Bill Gates. One of the founding members, or one of the higher-up members of the pervert mafia. So we're looking at what's taking place, and you see all these mosquitoes. Well, who is it, preemptively, that was involved in mosquito farming? Mosquito Gates was. Mosquito Bill. Let's call him Mosquito Bill. Let's look at his factory, and let's look at a commercial following that he put out, like back in 2020. Let's take a look at this together right now. Bill Gates.
Hi, I'm Scott O'Neill here in Medellin, Colombia.
I work for Bill Gates.
And I'm at the world's biggest mosquito factory for the World Mosquito Program. We're making in here 30 million mosquitoes a week.
30 million.
We're doing it for a very serious reason.
Yeah, they are.
Cities like Medellin have suffered from diseases like dengue, Zika, chikungunya for decades, but not anymore. We've been able to bring the solution.
Now we're going to put more lethal things out there.
When this bacteria called Wolbachia gets introduced into the mosquito, it stops their ability to transmit dengue. We release mosquitoes that have Wolbachia.
Just look at the technology. Look what they're able to do with these hosts and carriers. Now just think if they switch out the serum.
Suffering or at risk of contracting these diseases.
Oh.
We have a solution, and our goal is to scale.
We have a solution for population control
that needed.
The Gates notes. Look at this clip. Look at this commercial he put out from 2020. The Gates notes. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. Ooh, I have a swamp. It's my swamp. Yep, and there's mosquitoes in there. Filthy perv. Woo! And now look. Oh, what's that at the end of the swamp? Oh, it's me preparing to eliminate population. Let's take the population from many people to much less. Foreshadowing. Brought to you by Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft. Nom, nom, nom. Yeah, look at this. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, especially when powered by the pervert mafia. Brought to you by the experts of the WEF. Okay, now let's look beyond this. You look at what's taking place here. Now, another example of this is one time he's doing a TED Talk. He's up there, yeah, right? And he opens up a box for the audience and tells them it's mosquitoes. Let's watch this clip.
It means that you can't get the economies in these areas going because
Jeffrey Epstein.
It holds things back.
Epstein Island.
Now, malaria is, of course, transmitted by
mosquitoes.
there. I brought some here so you could experience this. We'll let
the dorks have taken over
the auditorium a little bit. There.
He's telling them what he's doing without telling them.
Have the experience. Those mosquitoes are not infected, but.
Yep, that's what he wants to do. Now let's take another look at a quick talk he gives here that's related about all the fun things that he wants to do to lower the standing population. Watch this.
Taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in the little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job, new healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Computer programmer.
We could lower that by perhaps
Epstein Island.
We're taking things that are,
Yeah. So when we look at this scenario, what are we recognizing here? Well, we recognize a theme, and there's a pattern that's taking place. And look, I pray for everybody's salvation. I pray for them to know the Lord. But you know what I care about even more is the children this is impacting, the people that are suffering on a global scale because of these things. And you recognize it, and you see that there's an agenda here of power, control, money. They want to dominate, and that is why they're doing it, because they have this weird religious ideology that says this planet belongs to us, and we will knock out anybody that stands in our way. So we want to just do that. And so he's doing it through things like mosquitoes. He's doing it through food modification. He's doing it through mutating the meat. He's doing it through all these avenues, and here we see it. Just kind of blatantly put in our face. Now it's making the news because we're coming into the cycle where they pick our leaders. Now let me say something to you. Please listen to me very carefully right now. Whether it is that scenario or a multiplied scenario, when we saw the trains tip over in East Palestine up in Ohio, we saw that just a few years ago. When you began, or a year and a half ago, when you begin to see the things that took place pattern-based scenarios where chicken coops and chicken factories are burning, and you see so much of this rotating through the culture, and it's trying to just stop any form of autonomous humanity. In other words, people that can provide for themselves. They're trying to get you dependent on them, and they will marshal everything from this sickness narrative to using mosquitoes to do it, through messing with our meat, through messing with the air, through doing all the things they can by water pollution and everything else. And now they're telling us, boy, we've been trained, we've been put into a crisis fatigue mindset that says there's something else coming. They already did it in 2020, but the good news is people are a little smarter now, and they're not going to just say, we're going to stay home, we're going to lock up and shut up. That's not going to happen this go around. But what it means is they will be forced to do something more vicious, something more blatant, something more strong that would really cause illness or something really serious to try to get everybody to sit down and shut up. Because as it is, the wave that's coming at these elite, wicked sickos is absolutely going to be an insurmountable, unstoppable tsunami. So you've got to be ready, because they're going to pull out all the stops now. Especially when you get word of monkeypox, or when you get word of all these other nonsensical things that are truly getting traction. But I guarantee you, it's not just natural. Why? Well, where has it been for the last 3 years? The last time that it was out there was when they were afraid of losing control of everything, back in 2020. And now we see these narratives coming out again. Whether it's mosquitoes, or whether it's the monkeypox scenario, wherever other illness they want to bring, it is a mechanism. It's a mechanism. It's a mechanism for the pagan idolatry of these individuals. And they want to do it. I believe that we are now going into this coming year. As we go into the coming year, the word I keep hearing is it will be the best of times and the worst of times. I see a few things taking place. I believe that a lot of this is going to be run into by a populist movement. I believe there'll be parts of the Supreme Court that get with the decision. I hear these words. The court struck down one time. They struck down Roe v. Wade one time, and they're going to strike down another scenario with this. They're going to do it a second time. I see us striking down a second time against this scenario. I see life and lawlessness, life overcoming the spirit of lawlessness. I see life rising. This is not the end, my friends. It's not the end. Life is rising, and as I see life rising, I see more that has to do with this. In 2020, when I was interceding, I need to say something to us right now. I feel the Spirit of the Lord. In 2020, as I was interceding, the Lord gave me the word, the balm of Gilead. The balm of Gilead. It was an Old Testament word. There was two cities, like twin cities, like Minneapolis, St. Paul, twin city area called Ramoth Gilead. Ramoth Gilead was where they produced healing ointments and things like that. And it was known for having the balm of Gilead. But Jesus then got coined the phrase in church history and whatnot as the balm of Gilead. Jesus became that. I see the words, the balm of Gilead, beginning to flow in this time again. The balm of Gilead coming as a do-over to not allow some of the same wickedness that has happened in this year to reign in this season going forward. So when I see this, I see the best of times, worst of times. I think we're going to see more words about war, battles, all that. I won't go into it, but my dear friend Rick Renner, the Lord showed him some things that he'll be sharing on, but I see these scenarios as well that the Spirit of the Lord is bringing forward with everything from the red dragon, of course. You say, what nation is that? Well, just imagine what nation that represents, right? You see that taking place, the red dragon. I believe that there's going to be much of this, but it's going to be an economic-based war scenario, and there's going to be multiple nations, a multi-nation issue. Some people would say we're already here. I think we are. It's just not the way it once was. But I believe that we can extinguish this over time. But this is going to be a year, again, 25, of fire. Hear me. Fire. I've seen this for 3 years. I keep saying 25 will be fire. It's the only thing I see for that year is fire. Now, I believe there can be extinguished. That's why the Lord keeps telling me, pray for rain in October, November, December. Pray for rain. Rain. So we can get into a coming year with less casualty, less difficulty. Now, I saw something interesting as I was praying. Beyond this, I believe there's going to be great talks of a new movement. There's a new movement coming. A new movement. And I believe we could call it a new party. There's a new party coming. Because with the cleansing and overturns, I believe some of this, and it might be just transformed in a new movement terminology. Maybe they won't use this term, but I believe there's a new movement, new party, and I believe when we're talking about the new America, when we get into that type of terminology, the new America, as we've prophesied about so much here, I believe it's going to be founded with a new movement with the new America, a new party, new movement, new America. These things are coming. Now, one thing I began to see as I was praying during some of these times is I saw this. I saw this. Or it's like I heard these words go through me. Lake in 28. Lake in 28. Lake in 28. Lake in 2028. And the ring of it came through me, and I said, oh, Lord, what does that mean? And that's what I just heard. Lake in 28. I saw something happening around this. Lake in 28. And I believe that we're going to begin to see more of these faces and voices rising. But I did hear this. I saw that. And I'm praying about that. And when we're looking at all the scenarios that God is wanting to unfold for righteousness, I believe that we are going to see all of these things, this illness campaign. And then when all of this doesn't work, because it's not going to work the way they want, one of the things that they're going to begin to try to bring into the whole scenario that's down the road, I don't know how soon they're going to do this, but I prayed about this, I keep seeing this in my spirit, is that they're going to begin to do what they call climate lockdowns. If you've been with me some time, you've seen me talk about this many times. Climate lockdowns. Because they're going to begin to push this like their Babylonian, wicked, foul religion, the fakeness of this mess, this lie, the lie around this. And they're going to say, by the way, for the future, we're here to just do this. And the hypocrisy of how they operate with this. This is the biggest scam ever. Like, it is just ridiculous. It is so ignorant. The scam that they're pulling with this one. And people, if they say it long enough, they begin to believe it. And this is what we're seeing right now. But this is going to be a thing, if we don't change the narrative, they will push for this because lockdowns like this go right in line with their digital prison narrative. And they want us all to put on VR goggles and just kind of live that way as the elites travel the world and do whatever they want. Now, the United Front I see, this United Front is a movement. I see a movement of united voices. A movement, as we said earlier, it's coming, of united voices. They may not necessarily agree on everything, but we just saw this with, RFK. You see Elon in that scenario. You're seeing Tulsi. You're seeing so many of these people stepping over and beginning to arise. You even see reluctantly reluctant Zuckerberg saying, well, we'll just see what we got to do here. You're seeing all of this unfold and transpire to a place that I believe we are going to go through this battle, and we're going to get to 2028, and I believe there's going to be a new type of race. Of course, you see this going on here, and I see this redemptive instability. Now, you got to remember what I'm looking at here and the things I'm sensing. We are going to see massive amounts of turbulence, upheaval, uprising, and the like. And I just want to say to you, I'm not afraid of this at all. The Spirit of the Lord is making a way for you, making a way for your children. This is the hour of God's greatness. This is the hour where we press up. This is what we've prayed about. It's what we've prayed about. And you've got to rise up in faith to meet this. The sons of Issachar, they know the signs of the times. They know what to do about it. And they know who they're with. You need to know who you're with. You really need to know who you're with. Now, if you're watching live on television with us right now we're live. It's our morning broadcast. But listen, there's also a live television broadcast at the same time. And if we get to the end of our allotted time, please join us on the Joseph Z social media platforms. We'll be here. And sometimes we go longer, sometimes we just continue. So I'd encourage you, check out all the Joseph Z on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Rumble, on X, on all the platforms you can think of. We are there. Any platform that supports live, we're live right now. Praise God. But the Lord's going to make a way. I sense a blade coming, and now I sense something else about the economy. Let me say this. This is really vital. I was praying, because the economy is going to be the big word about all this. All of this is going to be absolutely on the foundation. Everything that comes next is going to be on the foundation of economics. The economic foundation. Okay? I heard a word about this because I saw a piece that was just, no matter what they did, was not going to work. It just wasn't going to work. I saw this word. And it was kind of like this. I don't know how to say it any better, but it was like this. It was like there was a piece of this that was broken and beyond repair, no matter what happened. And I began to see something that the Lord was going to do. It's like there was a repair that had to happen that came in if the whole foundation was broken. And I saw this repair. And it was like a foreign scenario, something that was not in play right now the way that it will be here. And I began to see this, and the words I heard is that there's going to be a prosthesis. An economic prosthesis. You say, what does that mean? Well, it's an economic prosthesis. In other words, where the foundation of our economics and the foundation of our economic issues is, and where it's broken and it can't be fixed, there has to be something that's applied that will hold it together and balance it and allow it to function as it once did. Maybe not as good as it once did, but to function. And I saw the word economic prosthesis. And this really is reliant on who gets in. Who gets in. And now listen, I believe all things are equal. The good guys win. The good guys win. I believe it's already a done deal. But of course, we know they're going to pull their nefarious agendas. We know they're going to try everything they can. We know they're going to pull out all the stops to make sure that there's victory for the dark side of the force, so to speak. But when you see this, I believe that we're going to be on an up and a down. It'll be like, we're going to do it. Oh, that doesn't look good. Oh, we're going to do it. No, it doesn't look good. I think there's going to be back and forth like that right to the finish line, and even after, even following. But I hear the Lord saying, fear not. I am with you. I will bring you through. I will bring you through unrest. I will bring you through the turmoil, the debate. I will bring you through the contended scenario. I'll bring you through the contended scenario, the contested scenario. And even in contest, in the contested arguments that begin to rise, I will bring you through it. For January will come, and people will still ask. And then quarter one will come, and the carving away begins. And in quarter one, the carving away begins. And it will begin, and it will begin to cause a shaking, and it will cause a revealing, and it will cause conflict, and it will cause oh no moments, and people saying, I never would have thought they would do that. And the Lord is saying, but aha, for I've heard your prayers, and I am acting on your behalf. For the rain will fall on the just and the unjust for the sake of the righteous, and you will outrun your enemies even in the rain. For God is with you. For God is with you. And he has not forgotten the prayers of his children. I just feel prompted I need to share this. In the spirit, I was taken in a dream, and this must have been over a decade ago. I was taken into a dream into an elite party, a very elite party. People were in black ties. They were in tuxedos. There was champagne everywhere. And I was brought in, and it wasn't me. I was someone else. And I was brought into this party. And when they came into the party, and there was a large grassy knoll outside overlooking this giant territory. And they were all there. And there was a woman that was in charge, at least one of the top people in charge. She had kind of grayish hair, and she was of Jewish ethnicity. And as we were standing there and talking, suddenly it was as if the culture had pushed back against an elite plan. And then this wicked force tried to stop the culture. And I was talking to this person who was of great power on the globe. And they said the words, the threat has been nullified. We took care of it. And now it's over for this season. And they toasted. And the Lord took me out of that. I believe that was a prophetic vision of the Lord. I believe we're coming into that right now. I believe there are three global powers behind the veil. One is we the people. Another one is the players we do see. And then another is the players we do not see. And I believe that the players we don't have a visual connection to, I believe they're watching right now, and God is intervening. I'm just sharing this. I sense
I'm bearing
this.
witness with this.
Pastor
oh my
Mark,
gosh.
Pastor Mark, I just sense it. I know I'm seeing it in the spirit right now. I was in Turkey. I'm over in Turkey on this journey. We're going to 7 churches, Noah's Ark, all this stuff. I watched one of your programs when I'm over there. You were talking about George Washington, and the Lord stopped, apprehended me, and said, pray into George Washington, and I need you to pay attention to his name right now. So I pulled back from that. I'm like, okay, Lord, what? He said, the sign of Washington, look for it. I'm like, what are we talking about? The sign of Washington, the sign of Washington. So I did a program on it. But I went away and I'm praying, the sign of Washington, the sign of Washington. I open up Fox News. On the front of Fox News at this moment, back in whatever few months ago this was, on the front page, they're saying, discovered at the house of George Washington were ancient bottles of cherry wine under his floors, and they're perfectly preserved from 300 whatever years ago. They pulled them out and they're pouring them, and they're perfectly preserved as liquid can be from that time. And the Lord began to say to me, I have preserved his legacy till today. I've saved the best wine for last. And the Lord began to minister to me, and it said it's his character, because we know the character of Washington was he chopped down the cherry tree, as folklore says, and his father said, what happened here? He said, I can tell no lie. I did these things. And the Lord began to minister to me that it was a cherry tree, it was cherry wine, it had to do with his character, and it's been preserved for today. And so when you said that in your program, it was either a program or Sunday morning, I think you showed a clip of Barton talking about him crossing the river. And when he's there and the fog lifted after they got across. When I saw that, the Lord said, I'm about to have a do-over right now. And the sign was the cherry wine. And the Lord brought me, because I saw Washington, the Lord spoke to me, watch for Washington, the sign of Washington, preserved wine under his house for today. The Lord is preserving the best wine for last. I believe that. I believe that is what the Lord is saying can be and what should be. I believe there's going to be more exposure than we've ever seen before in the house of man, the house of wickedness. So the exposure will come in such a way, and here's the purpose of that, that when it comes, it is so glaringly clear that people will have to reject the truth completely when it's in their face to go down the road of evil. And then, God help us all if that happens in this nation. But I do believe there's one more round. I think it's a narrow avenue, but I see the avenue. I see the avenue. I see God bringing us through in the middle of a crooked and perverse generation. And the Lord is making a way for you and your family and your house. And I'm going to go to the board. I need to begin to share some things. I see this extreme exposure that's coming. It's like the eyes of the Lord are running to and fro throughout the earth, looking for those whose hearts are broken and contrite before him, especially as the fire begins to fall in many places. And I'm very concerned about what I sense right now in the immediate atmosphere, right now. So I'm praying, but I feel hope. Hang here with me. Something good is going to happen in your life in Jesus' name. But let me share some of the difficult things, and I'll share the hope I see too. Here we go. Okay, here we are at the whiteboard. We call this the vision board, and I want to go into this right now. I believe that there is coming exposure. You know what I see? I see 45 with another card. Maybe it's up his sleeve, but there's a strategy card. And I don't know if he even knows it yet, but I see this strategic move coming to him, and that's going to be very important going into this coming scenario. There's a number of things that I really sense powerfully that I need to go into right now. There is a sense in the atmosphere over darkness, and I sense this. Boy, I don't even like drawing these things, but I'm going to say it. International dread. An international dread. And I believe this has to do, in Jesus' name, I believe this has to do with a heightened threat of war. Like, I believe this involves weapons and things that are going to try to explode and just create disasters. I'll say it even better. I've been praying against this for so long. When I see the ships mobilizing, and then this scenario happening, and the word is this international dread scenario. It's just It's like dread is trying to manifest. Just dread. I don't know how to say it any better than that. But remember, the Spirit of the Lord has a different report. And we don't land on this. We land on the report of the Lord. But when I'm looking at these things in the Spirit and I sense it, I'm just reporting it so we can pray and we can stop the nefarious things that are trying to manifest here. Just stop them. Because God does not want any to perish or any evil to take place. That's very important. When I begin to see these things, we're going to walk through this. Now, all of this, when we're looking at what's coming, there's a major event coming in the fall. Obviously there is. But I see this fall time, and the words I get is there are a number of things, especially the main thing, and it will not be. Not be what it seems as we go forward. And yet in this, I feel great hope. I feel the power of God in it. I see all these things. Now, you got to understand there's a comparison coming too. And in this comparison, it is a matter of what's going to happen regarding the future of economics. And this future of economics, the first telltale sign, whoever gets in, and I believe we know who God wants in and how that's going to go, but boy, it's going to be, man, there's collisions coming. Keep your faith up. Be praying for me. Please pray for me right now. I'm sensing things, and I'm trying to navigate this not for fear, not for sensationalism. I truly want to see so we can pray and push back against wicked agendas. Now, the key to this is going to be, as we prophesied, oil. In the same way there's been a burning of chicken farms. I mean, you realize how many have been on fire, truly burning. I believe that we're going to begin to see this.
Like for full video, watch, because it's yeah.
A burning of oil, whether it's platforms at sea, something I've seen for a long time, and all of it.